I have a book haul and I'm super happy about it. I have a book haul. This is a book haul. I'm not sorry and I'm wicked happy about it. Hi, BookTube. It's Kim, and yes, this is a book haul. I'm counting, 14 books. Yeah, there were more, but let's just call this a BookTube highlight reel. So, real quick, I went to a library book sale a couple of weeks ago, and the hardcovers are $1 and the paperbacks are 50 cents. And I got a bunch of backlist books, but I just have a pile here that I wanted to highlight. And then I got some books from Book Outlet, so let's go. Now, almost every time I go to a library book sale, I hit a major jackpot, and I did there at that point. When you walk in the door, this particular library has a book sale room, so it's ongoing every month. The first Saturday of every month, they open the room for book sale. And when you walk in the door and you hit the right-hand side, they have a small rack that says, "Look what's new." And so I did, and I found this for $3, Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. And this is hilariously a book about twin stepkids who, when they get pissed off, they burst into flames. And it cracks me up because what small child doesn't do that metaphorically? Let me read this quick. Lily and Madison were unlikely roommates and yet inseparable friends at their boarding school. But then Lillian had to leave the school unexpectedly in the wake of a scandal, and they've barely spoken since. I can't stop laughing. Until now, more than 10 years later, when Lillian gets a letter from Madison pleading for help. Madison's twin stepkids are moving in with her family, and she wants Lillian to be their caretaker. That alone fascinates me. I want to know what's going on with that friendship. However, there's a catch. The twins spontaneously combust when they get agitated, flames igniting from their skin in a startling but beautiful way. I'm dying to read this. Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. I got this for $3 on the Look What's New rack. And the next one, this is a paperback, so this was 50 cents. And this I read Sigrid Nunez, The Friend, at the beginning of the year. And this is A Feather on the Breath of God by Sigrid Nunez. And it's a very short novel. It's, I don't know, less than 200 pages. And I don't even know if I know what this book is about. I didn't care. There's a short description on the inside. In this profoundly moving novel, a young woman looks back to the world of her immigrant parents, a Chinese Panamanian father and a German mother, who meet in post-war Germany and settle in New York. Growing up in a housing project in the 50s and 60s, the narrator escapes into dreams, inspired both by her parents' stories and by her own reading, and for a time into the otherworldly life of ballet. A yearning, homesick mother, a silent and withdrawn father, the ballet. There are elements that shape the young woman's imagination and sexuality. Years later, while working as an English instructor, she begins an affair with a Russian immigrant. As his English improves, he binds her to him by becoming more and more articulate in expressing his feelings for her, but at the same time frightens her with every new revelation about his own troubled past. And this is a backlist book published in 1995. So 50 cents, people. I'm not passing that up. The next book is another paperback. So it was another 50 cents. This is a book published in 2008. I saw this on Heidi's channel from My Reading Life, and this is written by Padma Vishwanathan. This is The Toss of a Lemon. And when Heidi was describing it, I just was immediately interested in this book, and I couldn't believe I turned around and there it was on a rack. We were about to leave the book sale room and I saw it. Let's see. Sivakami was married at 10, widowed at 18, and left with 2 children. According to the dictates of her caste, her head is shaved and she puts on widow's whites. From dawn to dusk, she is not allowed to contaminate herself with human touch, not even to comfort her small children. Sivakami dutifully follows custom except for one defiant act. She moves back to her dead husband's house to raise her children. So that's honestly all I want to read. Sounds really good, so pick that one up. I found an awesome, almost unread hardcover copy of The Tiger's Wife by Thea Obrecht. And The Tiger's Wife was published in 2011. Weaving a brilliant latticework of family legend, loss, and love, Thea Obrecht, the youngest of New York's 20 best American fiction writers under 40, has spun a timeless novel that will establish her as one of the most vibrant original authors of her generation. Thea Obrecht just came out with the book Inland. In a Balkan country mending from years of conflict, Natalia, a young doctor, arrives on a mission of mercy at an orphanage by the sea. By the time she and her lifelong friend Zora begin to inoculate the children there, she feels age-old superstitions and secrets gathering everywhere around her. Secrets her outwardly cheerful hosts have chosen not to tell her. Secrets involving the strange family digging for something in the surrounding vineyards. Secrets hidden in the landscape itself. Tiger's Wife by Thea Obrecht. Obrecht? Yes. This one is By the Lake by sun's coming in. By the Lake by John McGahern. And John McGahern is considered one of the finest Irish writers of fiction. It is a village flirting with the more sophisticated trappings of modernity, but steeped in the traditions of its unforgettable inhabitants and their lives. There are the Rutledges, who came from London in search of a different life on the edge of the village lake. John Quinn, who will stop at nothing to ensure a flow of women through his life. Jimmy John McKiernan, head of the local IRA, as well as town auctioneer and undertaker. The gentle Jamesy and his wife Mary, who have never left the lake and who know about everything that ever stirred or moved there. Patrick Ryan, the builder who never quite finishes what he starts. Bill Evans, the farmhand whose orphan childhood was marked with state-sanctioned cruelty and whose adulthood is marked by the scars. And the wealthiest man in town, known as the Shah. Give me a good Irish writer anytime, set in an Irish village. And John McGahern, I've only heard a little bit about him, but was really happy to find that in the stacks. I found a book that was free in a box out right in the library lobby. Let's see. This is Atul Gawande's Better, and the subtitle is A Surgeon's Note on Performance. Yeah, so sorry for the light, you guys. The sun is going behind the trees, so it's a little weird. Atul Gawande is the author of Being Mortal, which I read a few years back. That book made me cry because I read it shortly after my mother passed away, and that book is about end-of-life issues and life and death and illness. It was a beautiful book. This one I found in the free box. And it is a mesmerizing book with fascinations on every page, told with mastery, insight, compassion, and humility by a surgeon who doesn't flinch from taboo subjects or self-examination. His topics range from the invisible to the unspeakable, and some chapters are exciting medical mysteries. Let's see. The struggle to perform well is universal. Each of us faces fatigue, limited resources, and imperfect abilities in whatever we do. But nowhere is this drive to do better more important than in medicine, where lives may be on the line with any decision. In his new book, Atul Gawande explores how doctors strive to close the gap between best intentions and actual performance in the face of obstacles that somehow seem insurmountable. Free? Yes. Picked that one up. And the last of my library haul, I found a still covered in that plastic, which I actually like, a hardcover copy that looks unread. A.S. Byatt's The Children's Book. I had this in softcover. I found this one and grabbed it for $1. Let's see, a spellbinding novel. Okay, any book that starts off with the word spellbinding, I will throw my money at it. and I threw my dollar at this one. A spellbinding novel at once sweeping and intimate from the Booker Prize-winning author of Possession that spans the Victoria era through the World War I years and centers around a famous children's book author and the passions, betrayals, and secrets that tear apart the people she loves. Yep. So, those are my library book sale books. The next short pile is Book Outlet, and this one is called Don't Call Me Princess by, yes, I exaggerated the vocals, by Peggy Orenstein. And this is Orenstein's most resonant and important essays are available for the first time in collected form. Updated with both an original introduction and personal reflections on each piece. Her takes on reproductive justice, the infertility industry, tensions between working and stay-at-home moms, pink ribbon fear-mongering, and the complications of girl culture are not merely timeless. They have, like Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, become more urgent in our contemporary political climate. The subtitle on this is Essays on Girls, Women, Sex, and Life. Don't call me princess! The next one is, let's see, Vile Bodies by Evelyn Waugh. In the years following the First World War, a new generation emerges, wistful and vulnerable beneath the glitter. The bright young things of 20s Mayfair, with their paradoxical mix of innocence and sophistication, exercise their inventive minds and vile bodies in every kind of capricious escapade. Escapade is another word if you want to get me to buy a book. Put that word in the description. The next one is nonfiction, and it's called Lentil Underground by Liz Carlisle, and the subtitle of this is Renegade Farmers and the Future of Food in America. This is a fascinating story of a group of small Montana farmers who ignited a revolution. Oh, let's see. This is really good. 40 years ago, corporate agribusiness launched a campaign to push small grain farmers to get big or get out. Monsanto. But 27-year-old David Oyen decided to take a stand. When he dropped out of grad school to return to his family's 200-acre farm, Oyen seeded his fields with a radically different crop. Organic lentils. A cheap, healthy source of protein rich in fiber, folate, vitamin B1, and amino acids, lentils are drought-tolerant and don't require irrigation. And unlike the chemically dependent grains American farmers had been told to grow, Monsanto. Lentils make their own fertilizer and withstand variable climate conditions, so their farmers aren't beholden to industrial methods. The word lentil was in the title, and I love lentils. I am by no means a vegan. I have toyed with the idea of eating vegetarian, but I love reading about alternate food source, alternate food choices. I love lentils. I love anything made with lentils, but this story sounded fascinating and something I look forward to learning more about. So I picked that one up from Book Outlet. Here is another New York Review of Books book, and this is 3 Summers by Margarita Liberacki, and this is translated by Karen Van Dyke, translated from the Greek. This is called 3 Summers. 3 Summers is a story of 3 sisters growing up in the countryside near Athens before the Second World War. Living in a big old house surrounded by a beautiful garden are Maria, the oldest sister, as sexually bold as she is eager to settle down and have a family of her own, beautiful but distant Infanta, and dreamy and rebellious Katerina, through whose eyes the story is mostly observed. Over 3 summers, the girls share and keep secrets, fall in and out of love, try to figure out their parents and other members of the tribe of adults, take note of the weird ways of friends and neighbors, worry about and wonder who they are. That sounds super good. And I love this artwork on the cover. Weird fact, my least favorite color is green. This is green all over the book, but I absolutely love this. I love the artwork, and these books are so beautiful. So I found it and I bought it. This one was like I said in my library book haul, my library book sale, book haul, I always find at least one jackpot. This one was my book outlet jackpot, and this is a hardcover with deckled edges, and book outlet books are brand new. This is The Binding by Bridget Collins. This is, look at that artwork, and that, let's see, am I right? Yeah. This is foil, gold foil. I wish you could see that. And I am silly stupid for how books are made. This was published in 2019. It's a brand new release. And I'm going to read a little bit of it. Wait till you hear why I bought this book. Young Emmett Farmer is working in the fields when a strange letter arrives summoning him away from his family. He is to begin an apprenticeship as a bookbinder. A vocation that arouses fear, superstition, and prejudice among their small community, but one neither he nor his parents can afford to refuse. For as long as he can recall, Emmett has been drawn to books, even though they are strictly forbidden. Bookbinding is a sacred calling. The bookbinder, Saradith, informs her new apprentice, and he is a binder born. Under the old woman's watchful eye, Emmett learns to handcraft the elegant leather-bound volumes. Come on. Yeah. Bookbinding. What's that word that was in there? Apprenticeship as a bookbinder. Fear, suspicion. Yes. And look at the deckled edges, the foil on the cover. This is a Kim book all the way. Book outlet jackpot. And then one last book. This is again, I'm like so happy. This is a classic paperback, French flaps, deckled edges. It is Middlemarch by George Eliot. And this is one of the books that I am possibly considering reading for March of the Mammoths next month. And this book clocks in at 831 pages. So it meets the requirements of 800 pages or more. And see? Deckled edges. There is the French flaps. And I really like this edition. I like the artwork on the cover. Middlemarch, for any of you who are not familiar, Dorothea Brooke married Edward Casaubon, a clergyman and scholar some years her senior. That's all I need. Clergyman and scholar. Naively hoping their union would be a true meeting of the minds. Trapped in a lonely marriage to a tyrannical man, she finds companionship with Edward's cousin, but her overtures risk her spotless reputation and jeopardize her future. That's all I need to know. This is George Eliot, a classic written by a woman, which I'm very happy to read. And let me give you the short biography of her that's printed on the back cover. George Eliot was the pen name of English novelist, journalist, and translator Mary Ann Evans, who was born in 1819. Critics of the 20th and 21st centuries have hailed her as one of the most important Western writers of all time, and have called her best-loved work, Middlemarch, perhaps the greatest novel in the English language. She died in 1880. I had a previous copy of this book on my shelf, and I actually pulled it off the shelf to look at it to see if it would meet the requirements or the guidelines for March of the Mammoth next month. And it did, but it was a paperback copy, and when I opened it up, the very top 2 lines of every page were cut off. I'm like, oh, I guess I have to buy another book to make up for this copy that's unreadable. So I was happy to find this on Book Outlet. That's it. That's my latest book haul. Makes me so happy. There are some books I didn't show you, but my husband and I discovered a Books A Million in Concord, New Hampshire that I didn't even know was there. Years ago, there was a Borders bookstore in that location that unfortunately closed down when Borders went out of business. And the only other largish bookstore in my general area is Barnes & Noble, which is about 20, 30 minutes away. I'm not a real big Barnes & Noble fan, but I do go there to buy books, clearly. But we found Books A Million, and we're thrilled because it's a much bigger store. They have a huge bargain book section with a bunch of backlist books that I found and picked those up right away. So that's another source that I have, and Concord, New Hampshire is not that close to us, but we actually really enjoy finding new places and going for road trips and that type of thing. So we had a lot of fun last week doing that with our daughter. That's my book haul. That's, you know, my piles, my jackpots. Hope you like some of those books. Let me know in the comments if you did, if you've read them, which ones. Did you like book? Yes, Nothing to See Here. Did you read this and did you like it? And is it funny? Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you later, and thanks for watching. Bye.